What's good, YouTube? All right, I see you. What's good? Just wanted to do a little catching up with y'all. I'm headed somewhere real quick, but in a little while, I'm gonna be doing another live from a nice little event. What is good, Red? And what's good? I'm sorry I missed the other one. I'm trying to drive here, but I keep my eye on the road. Couple quick little things just to catch up. I don't know if you guys remember, guys and girls remember the video. I put out a couple videos in the past couple weeks about Rochester, New York's bike sharing program. And I get that, listen, like I always say, because I get emails, I get messages on social media. People say, man, why you don't do the police stuff? What's going on? The channel, and I've said it before. Some of you like Red probably have heard this already. Trying to make it vary, trying to offer different content. Some of the content might not be for everybody. Some of it is going to be local because Rochester is my hometown. Hold on. Got a little bit of New York State Police revenue generated on the side of the road there. By the way, does every state, or does your state, better question, does your state have the move over law, which is basically if you see a police officer, law enforcement, on the side of the road pulling someone over to generate revenue for his or her village, town, city, or state, you'll be ticketed if you don't, change lanes. Does anyone else go through that in their state? And don't get me wrong, I'm all for safety. Being on the side of the road is very dangerous, which is exactly why, it's kind of ironic that they risk their lives to generate revenue, again, for their villages, towns, cities, and states. But I just, not to get off track here, but I just realized that I had to change lanes because there was a New York State trooper that was pulling over a motorist, a biker actually. Again, more times than not, to generate revenue. But anyways, just wondering if that's something that that you guys and girls go through in your state. Just a thought. So to the catching up, I did a video, and again, some of the times the stuff will be more locally based, local content. It may or may not interest everybody. And that's the good thing about having a YouTube channel. I mean, I'm not just going to use it, just so you guys and girls know, to do police accountability issues, you know what I mean? I'm like a veteran when it comes to the whole police accountability thing. I've been there, done that. Been doing this for well over 20 years. And with maturity and with age comes, or better said, with age comes maturity. Not always, but it should. Everybody doesn't reach a mature level just because they're older. But and also comes evolving, and I'm trying to evolve the channel into other interesting things that are not just police accountability related. It's always going to be centered around police accountability issues and exercising your rights, especially the First Amendment protected right to record. But there's going to be a lot more, and I hope that, like I said, it might not be for everybody. So with that said, and I'm sorry about the potholes. There's potholes everywhere in Rochester, no matter where you go. Streets, side streets, main streets, expressways. Rochester, New York is pothole capital. I see the comments going crazy. I apologize. I'm trying to keep my eye on the road here. Especially you guys see how bumpy it is. But, so again, some of the content will be locally based sometimes, and those of you that watch me here from this local or upstate New York area maybe could relate to it. And maybe if you're like my friend Jeff in the UK, even if you're across the pond, so to speak, and in another country, hopefully you still find some of the content interesting. So I did a video, and a lot of the videos that I do, It's to expose and show how the city of Rochester, New York, specifically under the direction, under the governing of Rochester Mayor Lovely Warren, wastes money on things where they could be spending it on, for example, helping the homeless. We have, and that's why I always say this fake patriotism, this fake American patriotism that many Americans have. You know which ones. We all know them. The same ones who scream their American pride and fly a 50-foot flag off the back of their Ford F-150s. But most often, those same folks are the same ones that will trample on me or your right, especially our First Amendment right. So that's what I mean by fake patriotism. But anyways, we always scream as Americans about fake patriotism, but yet there's veterans. There's United States veterans who fought for this country, right? I mean, because these fake patriotism Americans are always pointing out about supporting and respecting and backing up our troops. Well, what about the veterans who are sleeping under bridges, who are being denied health care? Some of them have committed suicide on the steps of the VA centers around here, Canandaigua and upstate New York, as well as across the country. All you have to do is Google United States or U.S. veteran suicide, and I believe the rate per day is somewhere around 22 to 25 veterans that commit suicide. Many of these folks fought for our country, and they come back here, some of them disabled, some of them maimed, missing limbs, and they come back to a country which really gives two shits about them and doesn't appreciate them. So again, I'll get off that rant. We'll save that for another video. But the reason I'm even going there is because Rochester, New York Mayor Lovely Warren has appropriated millions of dollars for things that are truly not necessary, especially when you take into account things that are necessary, such as Rochester, New York's homeless population. You got folks freezing to death in the winter, living and sleeping under highway overpasses, however you want to call it. Many of these folks are veterans, again, who fought for this country. Hence why I say fake patriotism. On one hand, America claimed to be patriotic, but on the other hand, they overlook these folks who are literally sleeping and living under in the cold under bridges. So one of the things that Rochester, New York Mayor Lovely Warren spent a ton of money on is Rochester, New York's bike share program. And that is the Zagster bike share program, basically a public bike sharing service. And I don't know if you guys and girls in your own towns, cities, whatever states have these. I know they're throughout the country in different areas. But what I love to do is expose and show a side that is often not seen. Because what happens is Rochester, New York Mayor Lovely Warren is one of the most hypocritical, two-faced individuals that you can meet. And she's quick to, in order to progress and advance her political career, like all politicians, right? She's quick to hold these press conferences whenever she announces a new program, like she did a few years ago with the bike share program. Well, what many Rochester area residents don't realize, or they do now, and I'll get to that in a minute, is the way that these services are misused. I got a video of two youth riding double on it, and I'm not trying to be a party pooper. I mean, I grew up in the hood, ghost town, Rochester, New York, J Street, Child Street, 585, you know what I mean? And, we rode double, we rode triple. We used to put pegs on bikes. We used to modify bikes. So it's not that I'm being a party pooper, but again, it's important to show how these services are being used. And there were two youth riding double on a bike that's meant for one person, a bike that, again, is part of the Rochester, New York, City of Rochester, New York, and Mayor Lovely Warren's bike sharing program. And then less than about a week later, a few days later, I put out another video where I captured another public bike from the Zagster program, again, the City of Rochester, New York program, thrown while not only a Rochester, New York garbage employee, refuse employee, um, bumped it as he was collecting garbage. In other words, just on the floor, abandoned, no lock, no, no kind of protection. But then a female, a woman who was riding a bike, rode right past it and actually bumped the bike. So in other words, I always like to show, especially with my platforms, things that are not often seen, right? But here's where I'm going with this, and then I'll wrap it up. And again, I'm going to be live in a little while with another interesting video. You guys may want to tune in, guys and girls. So what happened was, after my videos, you'll see where I'm going with this. After my 2 videos, the most recent being just about a week ago, Rochester, New York's mainstream news media, specifically News 10 NBC, which is Rochester, New York's NBC affiliate, and 13 Wham News, which is Rochester, New York's ABC affiliate. And you can look these up and look at the dates. Go to my videos about the bikes being misused and look at the dates on the videos, and then go to News 10 NBC, and then go to 13 Wham News, again, which is Rochester, New York's ABC affiliate, and basically look up the dates, and you'll see the 2 stories that these 2 news stations here in Rochester, New York just ran. As we're a fan of Davy V or Davy V TV, and vice versa. I'm no fan of them. They sensationalize, they exploit families' pain and tragedies in the name of news ratings, because news ratings equal cash. And that's what it's all about. But if you notice the stories, the issue with the bike sharing program, so my videos basically broke this, and then the news kind of ran with it, is actually not just the misuse, but the fact that several hundred bicycles are missing. They've been stolen. So it's interesting. Again, I'm not going to get too much into that. You guys can read that online. But my point is that I have broken so many local stories here, and rarely, if ever, do I get any credit, because, of course, mainstream news media knows that I can't be bought. I don't do this for a paycheck. And that is basically, when somebody can't be bought and it's not on the hook with a carrot, which would be a paycheck. Therefore, I do my own thing. And that is the worst kind of person that mainstream news media or the authorities, law enforcement or whatever, hate, is somebody who basically cannot be bought and doesn't do this for the money. As you see, the channel's not monetized. I doubt if ever will be monetized. That's not why I'm in this for. I'm not in it for the likes. I'm not even in it for the comments. As you see, those are blocked for reasons that I won't get into right now. But again, I'm not into it for those reasons. So go on there, check out my videos about Rochester, New York's bike sharing program. All you have to do is Google in the search bar or whatever. Not Google, but search, or Google if you're on Google. Davy V, Rochester, New York bike sharing program. And then go to these news sources and see how their stories about the bike sharing program in Rochester and the way it's being misused, and even hundreds of bikes have been stolen. Look it up and see how my stories were first, my videos. And again, it's not to toot my own horn. On the contrary, it's to prove. I love when they do that, because nothing better than when somebody proves you right? Nothing better than when someone actually helps you make your point for you. And for years, I've criticized and been very outspoken about Rochester, New York mainstream media. So check that out. And I thought it was interesting because the word citizen journalist is a word that that best describes me and what a lot of other folks do who are passionate about building and having their own platforms and exposing their own stories, writing their own stories, being a multimedia journalist in essence, and putting out their own videos. And it's very important because it's just another reminder of how mainstream news media hates that. You know what I mean? They hate it, and they hate citizen journalists, and rarely, if ever, do they give any props, any credit where credit is due, for stories that, citizen journalists break. So anyways, thank you for tuning in. I'm sorry I missed some comments. In a little while, I'll be somewhere where I'll probably be able to read some of the comments. Tune in. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Big shout out and a big thank you to all the new subscribers, and also a big shout out and a big thank you to everyone who tunes in, all my day ones like Red. Big shout out to you, my brother. And if you haven't already done so, like I said, subscribe. And if you haven't already done so, tap that bell so you get the notifications. Peace.